Once again, I am JTV Max. Thank you for watching my last video. I haven't done a video in months, so I was a little ranty, a little kind of all over the place. But yeah, you're going to be in for a treat, I think, today. Just going off my last video, we're going to talk about vendors here, throw up some deals that obviously we know Black Friday deals are coming up. But if you don't know, then, stay tuned. I'll pop them up on screen. And if you need to go back, then just rewatch the video and all good, right? And then just some websites I use, especially if you go to card shows, and just tips and tricks, things like that. So without further ado, yeah, so now we're talking about vendors, right? Talking about vendors, with my experience over the last several years, just going to various card shows, big and small, I would just say know your price point that you want to buy a card at. And also, too, there are a lot of good, friendly, amazing vendors, Pokemon vendors. Met plenty of those, but also I've met plenty of, they just look miserable. They're not friendly. They have like a resting, B word face, to keep this channel as much as I can PG-13-ish. And they look unfriendly, like it's a bothersome that you're even talking to them when they're trying to sell something, right? It's really weird. So those are really the two types of vendors I've seen. And usually the ones that are friendly, they're welcoming you to, like, hey, come to my table, look, ask questions, question the prices. Hey, what do you want to buy? They're able to work a deal with you. And then sometimes they're firm, and then, saying, hey, I really don't have any wiggle room, I don't want to sell that. And they're honest with you up front, not, come back later maybe, or no, I'm firm at this price. Like, there's no negotiation. It's like, bro, you're at a card show. This haggling is a part of the process no matter what. The market is what we determine. The people determine what they're going to pay. So it's like you need people to set a market price, but you also need people to be able to negotiate. And once again, I said it yesterday's video, the greed level, right? Where are they maxed out at a greed level 10, or are they kind of in that 5, 6, 7 range, and they're willing to work with you? So, so once again, as a buyer, I like to just know my price points. I have a plan at least most times. Like, okay, I'm going for this Pokemon Center, Obsidian Plains ETB. I'm looking up prices, the night prior, on TCG. I'm looking at eBay last solds. I'm using the collector app, which I'm a big fan of. Look me up, JTV Max. That's all it is, JTV Max. Just like the channel, no underscore though. See my collections, see what I'm collecting, and give me and let's follow each other, and then we'll go from there. Right, but I'm using a bunch of those, different apps for certain things, like for slabs. I had to learn this. So the Alt app is really big right now with vendors. Obviously, eBay last solds, that's always a given. And then, price charting, I guess, for slabs is usually a really good, to gauge how much it actually is worth. And yeah, so I've had to learn that over the time. Be like, hey, where are you? And I've asked questions, and once again, to those friendly vendors, they help me out. They're just like, oh, hey, this is what app we're using. The unfriendly vendors, they're like secretive, like it's top secret information, and that they don't want you to know because you're trying to figure it out. So you don't come to their table, and you don't want to be a lowballer, right? You don't want to be that person that's, laughable. You want to make sure you get a price that you think, it's worth, but also it has to be based on data, and you're just trying to look at whatever you can, right? So the good vendors, they're like, oh yeah, we use this app, this is what we look for, this is what I typically go off of, or they'll tell you like why they mark their prices on their cards prior to, as if you're looking at this slab right here, and if it had a $100 sticker, they'd say, oh, hey, the last 3 solds on that on eBay as of today, yesterday, and the day prior, and I just average it, and that's what it goes. And you just confirm that. That's not an insult. Everyone's human, right? There's new sales coming out. However, the apps like cycle whenever they cycle, right? They could have priced this 2 days ago, the vendor or the seller. And, at least they gave you a rhyme and reason to why their price is. So, yeah, you have different apps. And if you want to know more about those apps, maybe I do a different video about that, just showing what I use. And this other random app that I saw randomly on Instagram, and it tells you exactly what, if you want 90% or if you want 80% cash trade, right? And then like what the value of the card is, and it will do that in quick math for you to be like, hey, you want X amount of dollars, X amount percent, and it just gives you it right away. So then you don't have to guess. You don't have to like use your calculator, 100 plus 100, what's 90% of that? Oh, okay, it's this. And then, it does all that for you in one shot. So yeah, if you want that, just let me know in the comments, and maybe that'll be one of the next videos on what I've used to try to get the best prices possible, not to be, and also not to be one of those type of buyers that's just, if this was marked 100 and be like, hey, I want to pay 70. Like, if it's consistently selling at $100, they're probably going to have some wiggle room, but not a lot. And most of the time, they're pretty firm if there's like 100 sales within that day or within a week, of that card. Like, the card has a good value. So, if this was marked $100 and I saw a bunch of sales, like 40 sales, 30 sales, like every day, I'd be like, okay, it's probably worth $100. Like, are you willing to do 90? Do you have any wiggle room? And maybe they'll go 95, and sure, 95, it's a liquid card. People want the card. I saved $5. The market right now is $100, clearly based on all the sales. And then they're able to make a deal, right? But if I would have came in there and was like, hey, I want 70 because I need room to sell it later, like, go. Like, they'll be nice to you, but you pretty much just painted a target on your back of you're one of those type of buyers. And remember, these vendors all know each other. They all talk. They all go to the same card shows. So you want to be that buyer that is personable, that's friendly, that you have good prices when you come up to them. They understand why you're, asking for this, a certain price. And, they're, once again, if they're friendly, they're good people, they'll entertain it. And sometimes you make a deal, sometimes you don't, right? You just got to keep fishing. I'm a big believer in just keep fishing. If you believe this card is worth $70, and the market's in a decline of the card, and it's dropping 10 bucks, it was 100 and now it's at 90, and you're like, I just don't want to budge it. I don't want to pay no more. But you can ask, right? But don't be surprised when they don't want to sell it. But also too, you just got to keep waiting, right? Use the marketplace. Maybe you say that to one person that has this card and go, hey, I want 70 on this card. I got cash right now. Do you want it? Yes or no? And if they're like, yep, perfect, cool, win-win. That person sold the card, gets cash. You get the card you wanted at the price point you wanted. Win-win, easy day. So, just keep fishing. Just because you're at the card show doesn't mean you have to feel pressure to make a deal. Always shop around, find the right vendor, and dead giveaway. If they don't say hello to you, if they're not have a friendly face, if they look bothersome, I would just skip that vendor. Maybe say, hey, how much is that? And if they give you some snark comment of, it could be anything, just, where they even ignore you, it's like, never mind. Hey, have a nice day, be nice. Okay, cool, thanks, and move on to the next vendor, right? So that's kind of what I want to talk about for vendor wise. Once again, I could go on and on over the last several years of looking at cards and trying to buy product from shows. And like I said, there's plenty of vendors that are awesome, which I always go back to no matter what too. I always go back to like the same 5 to 6 vendors at card shows when I see them, because I know they're going to give me a good price and they're going to work with me. And they're fun, right? And you just get to know people. So just my tips and tricks for that. Deals, right? Okay, so that's done. Some deals, right? I'll pop one up right now. All these can be found on Instagram. There's plenty of people making videos, so obviously check out, Pokey alerts. There's always Pokey something. latest and greatest. But I thought this was interesting. Lowe's is about to drop product. Remember I talked about yesterday Pokemon distributing, like, well, Lowe's, you're doing home refurbishments. You're doing paint. You sell paint. You sell cabinetry. What are you doing selling Pokemon cards, right? But it is what it is. So just FYI for that one. Let's see. Next one I got Mega Evolutions at Macy's and Phantasmal Flames, right? Macy's, you are a clothing store, and I believe some like household goods. But hey, if you're in the mall or you're in an area that has a Macy's, you might want to go check them out. And if you can get it at MSRP, buy some, buy it all. That's going to be your call. I'm not going to call you a scalper, especially if you find it at a good price and you're the only one buying it. Hey, that's just called business at times, or that's just called a good deal. So Macy's, check them out. Let's see, next. GameStop. GameStop, and this could vary based on where you're at or, your location in the world, essentially. But what I got word of, or what I saw, once again, I always saw these on all the like Instagram stuff, sorry. GameStop, 21st, probably be like a 4-hour line starting 2 days prior. But good luck, GameStop on the 21st for the UPC. So I'm hoping to try to get one at MSRP at least. Next, Walmart, Target, GameStop, also dropping additional product, and Best Buy on the 14th. So also, I've heard Target starting on the 12th, tomorrow. I haven't heard. I've just heard other Pokemon YouTubers talk about it and like people on Instagram. So those are my sources. Which online, in store, I mean, this whole week all the way to the 14th, I guess product is being released at MSRP, which I'm trying to buy at. Your probably local vendors have product already, which in my area they do, but they're selling the ETBs for like 130 bucks. Like the booster boxes I've seen already on Facebook Marketplace for $305. Like, I'll just wait, hopefully pay $170, maybe $200, and if I can get one or two, that's a win, right? So just FYI. And then PokeFree saw this, right? November 13th, dropping online. So if you're, timing everything right, hopefully no scalpers or no bot scalpers, I should say. Hopefully they can be prevented, but hey, just some boxes, collection boxes. If you're trying to look for some packs, 8 packs for $24, kind of unreal. But if you do get it on the secondary market, I could bet that's going to be a $50 box being resold, right? Maybe even 80 at first, and then it'll slowly bleed to like $50. But that's just usually how the resale game goes. But yeah, those are some of the deals that I've seen. I wanted to share with you all. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you like that concept, me throwing it in there for you. It's the holidays, so there are a lot of deals. Save your money. You work hard for your money, and try to catch some of those deals at MSRP. But because that's what I'm going to do too. Why I have this stuff in front of me. Just wanted to show you. I mentioned yesterday, Sword and Shield is probably what I'm buying in particular. But also, I'm looking for quality, right? So I was able to get this from, once again, the marketplace. I love the marketplace. Met some really cool people. They wanted a quick sale. I had cash. Done deal, right? That's how smooth it went. We linked up. We made the transaction, and done. So quality, right? Pokemon Center stuff are the only ETBs that I'm aiming for. I am trying to make a deal. I'm trying to close it out later this week, but me and the guy are just trying to link up our schedules. I'm trying to get the Mew UPC, and that comes with a Shrouded Fable ETB regular one, which could care less about, but I'm gonna get it and maybe do it as a giveaway to you all once we get to 7K subscribers. And a Burning Shadows premium box. Like, it's a small one. I think it's like 2 or 3 packs. So he's doing a lot deal for all 3 of those. And what I'm going to do is essentially trade this card away, right? It's the PSA 9 gray felt hat Pikachu. You're maybe asking why, right? I got this card for 90 bucks like a year and a half ago, or close to that, maybe even 2 years ago. It sells around 540, 560, whatever. It was up to 700 a month and a half ago that I almost made a sale for, on which I wish I did, but no worries. I'm using this card as equity, and then I'm gonna get pay on top cash for the UPC, the Burning Shadows box, as well as the Shrouded Fable, because the guy wants to sell everything as a lot. So I'm using this liquidity as equity, right, to make a trade, which I want a 10, or I want just a regular one, or worst comes worst, I'll buy another 9, or an 8 because it's cheaper, and just to have, right, in my collection, because it is a cool card. So that's why this card is out. And then also too, Sword and Shield, or not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet stuff I'm buying, but Pokemon Center or booster boxes specifically. And then even, like I said, still sticking in Scarlet and Violet and new stuff, because Mega Evolutions. I bought a bunch of sleeve blister packs, right? Because I got a good deal at MSRP, and I bought a lot, right? I think I think Mega Evolution is going to be a great era, just based on its first product and now the Phantasmal Flames that came out. But the GOAT is still Prismatic Evolutions, and I'm picking up as many as I can of these. Got a good price point, and yeah, I think this holds value. Plus, it's, even if I wanted to open it, I would enjoy it because of the hunt and the thrill of the cards, right, that you could potentially pull. So it's a win-win for me. And that's where, like I said, you have to decide what is important to you when it comes to the Pokemon hobby and the Pokemon space, right? If you think everything is awesome, then great. Buy everything you can. Then there's the next part to it. Are you going to open it or keep it sealed? Or, like, those are really the only two options. And in most cases, it's your call, right? It's your decision. Do whatever you want. As long as you're happy, that makes me happy. And then, hey, Pokemon will be happy, right? And it will be there for everyone. So that's kind of my thoughts for this video, right? Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Check out those deals. Once again, just replay it, or go back into the middle of the video around like the 10-minute mark for the deals, I believe. But other than that, this is another video. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you got some good information. Leave me a like, subscribe if you want. Leave a comment. What are you interested in? And do you think this trade's going to be good? Let me know. Pikachu, gray felt hat, plus cash for a 151 Mew UPC, a Burning Shadows box, like a collection box with like 2 or 3 packs, and then Shrouded Fable ETB. So those 3 items for the 2. Let me know if you think that's a good deal. I'm JTV Max. Have a great day, and I will catch you on the next video.